slogan. And John DiAgostino, is that really you?
Yeah, it is.
Wait a minute. So. Oh my gosh, it's you, my brother. You made it. All right, well, we've got a heck of a show lined up, as everybody hasn't seen what's going on. A lot of amazing cars. We've got some, I don't even know how to put it, but we've got people that have put together cars that I shake my head at. A lot of special people here today and a lot of amazing collections being represented. A couple of good friends I want to introduce real quick. John DiAgostino, who's our Grand Marshal this year for the 20th annual Cruisin For A Cure. Thank you. John's pretty well known for flying all over the world. Not, I would say country before, but now it's the world. I know that when Jerry needs to get a hold of him, he's calling him. He's either in Switzerland, Germany, Denmark, Amsterdam. We try to find him, we just can't seem to find him anymore. We've got a lot of cars that are represented from everywhere. We know that Callie Peterson brought her beautiful 47 Hudson pickup. That's a big boy truck, and it's from South Dakota, from Belfort. Kind of excited about that. We have the Matranga collection represented. We've got Kent and Bob Matranga. Probably one of the best kept secrets in Orange County. 50 cars plus probably in their collection at this point. Every year they support what we have going on here, and it's pretty amazing with what happens. So Kent, Bob, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. A couple of close friends with us. We got Ken and Tina Thurman. These people just build cars, and they have a lot of fun doing it. Ken called me up, and normally, as you guys know, we don't do repeat performances in the hangar. It's a one time only deal. But Ken called me up, and I've never heard anybody apologize more for not finishing a build. And I said, Ken, don't worry about it. You know, your cars are phenomenal. We'll let you come on in and let's just have some fun. So thank you so much for being here. Got a unique car here today. Alan Hodges, which is a friend of ours that lives way out in the Inland Empire, that builds his own stuff. He's got that 54 GMC COE that's back in the corner. That's a hand-built vehicle. He built it in his garage. So it's a pretty amazing feat as far as what he did.
Oh, tiny garage.
He's got about, about 5,000 square feet back there. I mean, the guy looks at me one day, I go back there and I said, hey Alan, what is this thing? He goes, well Rick, that's a 50-ton press. I go, what do you need that for? He goes, you never know. So kind of a crazy thing going on there. Josh, come on up here just for a minute. This is another close friend of ours here from Orange County. A good friend of Cruisin For The Cure and Cruisin For The Cure, the family. This is something that might shock a lot of you guys. So I was talking with Josh, and I said, hey, I need to see what cars you're bringing. So you brought a couple of cars this year. How many did you bring?
7 altogether.
7 cars. Here's a guy who brings 7 cars to support Cruisin For A Cure. But he brought a special car here, which is one of our featured cars. It's a 1917 Jordan Roadster, and it's one of one. It's a 1970. I didn't say 2017. I said 17. So it's a one-of-one car that your father looked for quite some time. I got to tell a funny story. So no one sees their collection of cars. So I was honored. I got a phone call and they said, hey, can you come down and let's take a look at the cars we're bringing. Make sure everything's up to snuff. And I said, okay. I walk in and my jaw hit the ground. I'm walking around and I'm looking around going, you've got to be kidding me. So as I'm looking at everything, I sat down with his dad, and I told Jerry this story yesterday. I sat down with his father and I said, you know, out of all the cars that you've had, what's the one car that got away from you? What's the one car you sold that you wish you would have never gotten rid of? Well, his father, very nondescript individual, puts his head down, goes like this, lifts his head back up, and he says, I've never sold a car. Well, now their collection is cresting right at 100 cars, and it's right here in Orange County, and nobody sees that collection. Is that correct?
Had to open a museum.
Absolutely crazy. We've got some pretty important people here today. Jim St. Pierre, a close friend of ours, came in to help us out with the parking. Everybody knows him from the Grand National Roadster Show. Handles all the parking there. Wayne, I can't even begin to thank you for bringing that W30. If you haven't seen his W30 that's sitting over here, that's a 993 point car. 993 out of 1,000. So if you don't think that's an accomplishment, talk to any of the guys that have collections of cars, and they'll tell you how hard it is to get a 993. It's absolutely crazy. Glenn, you brought us a couple of really super cars here. You built a 55 T-Bird that's got a Coyote motor in it. That's kind of like 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound bag. You've won everything in it. We want to acknowledge the fact that you brought that car out to us. We're pretty excited about it.
Thanks.
Thank you for bringing your car. And oh, by the way, the 55 T-Bird, that's not his car, that's his wife's car. I need to be sure to say that. You happen to have a little Mustang back there, a little silver fastback, don't you? 66?
66.
66, beautiful car, another phenomenal car. We're pretty honored this year to have a couple things going on. Before we move into a couple of quick interviews, I want to introduce our premier builder. Every year we try to focus in and feature a builder of cars that does a phenomenal job from all over Orange County, Southern California. This year, we brought in a little shop called Burton's Classics. Bill, Brian, come on up here for a minute. So the shop was started how many years ago?
Almost 20.
20 years ago. I've known these guys for 20 years.
In my backyard.
In his backyard. So it's an interesting deal because Brian recently has taken over the business a few years back, kind of handing off the ties here. So you guys are our feature builder. We are so proud to have you here.
If anybody don't, it's a matter of getting old. If anybody don't understand that around here.
So how does it feel to be the feature builder here?
It's amazing. It's an honor for us, and it's a privilege for you to call us and say you're going to be the feature builder. We're happy to be here. It's outstanding.
Well, we're excited to have you here. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at the work that these guys do, you might want to go back and take a look at the cars because we are featuring Bill's brand new build. He built a bullet car, but he kind of upgraded the motor just a little bit.
From 390 to 428.
Just a small jump in horsepower. You all know how that works, you know. But there's some killer cars back there. Go on back and take a look at it. Now, phenomenal build. We want to thank you guys for everything you do for us.
We want to thank you for giving us this
Appreciate
honor.
Well, it's not about me. It's about what the group does. That's really what it's all about. So, without that, I want to introduce somebody that I got to tell you came a long way. Jerry and Susie Logan. They've got a collection of cars. And when I first talked to Jerry, I was at the Grand National. What I did is I grabbed my buddy John DiAgostino and I said, "Hey, John." I said, "You think I might be able to get Jerry to bring down the Copper Caddy?" He said to me, he goes, "Well, what's the worst thing that's going to have happen?" I said, he'd say no. He goes, "Just ask him." So we talked to Jerry. We gave him the story about everything. And Jerry, tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this car. Because this, by far, is the nicest not Copper Caddy, it's the Cadillac. Tell us a little bit about it.
First of all, I saw my first 1960 Cadillac Coupe de Ville in 1960. I just got out of the Marine Corps and been out of social life for 4 years. Didn't even know this was made. My buddy says, "Hey, my dad just bought a new Cadillac. Let's go down and take a look at it." So we go down to the dealership, and here's his car. But in the showroom is a black on black Cadillac Coupe de Ville. I fell in love with it. I must have walked around that car for 45 minutes trying to figure out what I would do to that car if it was mine. And 45 years later, I find this car in Tacoma, Washington. It was a white car with a blue interior. And I took it to Gene Winfield. He chopped it, and he was never going to finish it. So I contacted Dave Kindig. Dave said, "I'd love to put my hands on that car." And so the rest is history, as you can tell, on Bitchin' Rides. This was the first car that Bitchin' Rides, when Bitchin' Rides went to Dave and started the series, this was the first full build. That's why this is a 2-hour segment. Anyways, copper. And that has carried me one heck of a long ways. You probably don't know who Jerry Logan is. In the past.
They do now.
I got out of jail. No.
Oh, you can't hear this, by the way, parole officer.
I owned a company called Bushwhacker. I started it in 1967, sold it in 2015. Bushwhacker makes fender flares, a lot of stuff for pickup trucks. That's what's given me the ability to pay Dave Kinday to build this car. Almost all of that. But he did a wonderful job, and I love the car. Walking around this car, talking to Dave was a real honor. And this copper thing was, Dave wanted to not do a lot of copper. He wanted to do chrome and copper because he thought they would accent one another. And so I decided, okay, after arguing with him for a long time on that particular first segment of the show, I said, hey, just listen, copper. So, end of story, I'm walking down in an airport in Denver to go to a flight, and a guy comes up to me right out of nowhere. You're Mr. Copper. And I looked at him, I said, you're kidding me. I'm Mr. Copper. You mean copper? Anyways, that show, that car has carried me a long ways, but it's not about me. It's about the car. It's always going to be about the car.
I'll tell you what,
not me.
Jerry, you saw my face when you opened up the trailer yesterday and
Yeah.
started backing it out. I was just, you know, we didn't announce that the Copper Caddy was coming for a reason. We always try to keep a surprise for everybody. As everyone knows, this is probably one of the most recognizable cars that has ever been built. Any car guys knows what it is. And Jerry, on behalf of Cruisin For A Cure and our family and everybody that's here and supporting prostate cancer, I want to thank you again for bringing everything down. It means an unbelievable amount to us. You know, a lot of the people in this room and a lot of people that come to this show are survivors. And I don't think there's anybody that has not been touched by cancer in one way, form, or another, whether it's a friend, a family member, or if you had to go through it. Bob Matranga, you're wearing a survivor shirt. What does that mean?
I'm a survivor.
You're a survivor of?
Prostate cancer.
How long ago was it?
05.
2005.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of another one.
3 years ago right here, had buddies talk me into walking right over there, get a test. They found out I had prostate cancer, went through some radiation, 28 treatment, killed it. So you guys need to go do that if you haven't done it. Not a big deal.
No, Jeff's on.
So what happens is that we do a testing process for anybody who is wanting to be tested. Typically men over 40 need to be tested. Over the last 20 years now, we've done about, well, I don't know how many total number, but I know we've saved about 1,280 people as far as saving lives. Last year we did testing to the tune of about 995 men that went in. Of that, there was approximately 170 people that were diagnosed with higher levels on their PSA. Of that, 53 were told within a 48-hour period to get to the doctor. So how serious is it? It's pretty serious. So we really want to thank everybody for bringing your cars out here. We do have a couple of debut cars I want to bring to the table real quick. Joe, where you at? Where do you go? Come on up here. Don't be bashful. So my good friend Carson calls me up the other day, and this is a while back. He says, hey, he goes, my brother-in-law's building this car. It's a 1940. And I said, okay, well, you know, it's another 40 Ford. Carson says, let me send you a picture of it. I look at the car and I go, are you kidding me? So here in the front row, as you can see, we have a featured 1940 Ford that is absolutely spectacular. What was the inspiration behind the car?
My wife actually has the car since 1973.
He took a few years to build it, 1973.
So it was stored at one time, well, pretty much for 40 years, off and on. And I started building it again about 2005, and had a little bit of help. Mackie, Hot Rod did the paint and body work. I did all of the engine, TCI frame, a lot of personal stuff.
A lot of personal stuff. We want to thank you for bringing the car and supporting the show. Very, very important. Thank you again. We appreciate you being here. The last car that's over here, unfortunately, its owner can't be here. His name is Richie Frey. That is an all-steel 1937 Ford Slantback, powered by an LS6 4L80E 9-inch Ford rear end. And the car is just drop dead on the money. You look under the car, it's as nice under it as it is on top, if not nicer. It's absolutely crazy. John Bean, the Grand Marshal here, pretty big deal. Your first year at the show was last year.
You know, it's funny. You've invited me for many years, probably the last
Been
15
years.
You and Debbie, and I've always wanted to come, but I'm always either out of the country
And
or
I
whatever.
berated you enough to plan around
And
it.
finally, I said, okay, I will come last year, which was 2018, and I'll bring you 2 cars.
You did.
And luckily, I brought the 62 Grand Prix, and I brought Jerry just purchased at that time. He just purchased a Hero Auto Recreation.
Right.
So I told Jerry, I said, Jerry, I'd like to bring the car for you here. So he says, go for it, John. So we have the car here in the front line, and I'm telling you, I was so ecstatic about this show last year. I figured this is a must-do show. I got to come here every year. So that's why I'm here again this year.
Fantastic.
And I'm really proud to be Grand Marshal, thanks to you and Debbie and the gang. I'm telling you, I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to see the 3,500 or 4,000 cars. It's Meguiar's Hangar is second to none. We got the celebrity appearances tomorrow. We got so much going on, but the best is we save lives.
We do.
Prostate
We save
cancer.
a lot of lives.
So in other words, it's very well worth it. Cars and this cancer deal is actually saving lives.
Thank you. And now tomorrow, guys, real quick, I mean, we're going to have 5 live feeds coming in from the news stations. They're actually going to be floating around filming everybody. We've got a celebrity panel that is going to be talking about the state of the industry. Matter of fact, I got a couple of them. Matter of fact, 3 of them that are here right now. I got Carson's going to be on the panel. Johnny D. Mr. Logan will be on the panel. We're going to talk about what's going on with the industry, and we're going to have interviews all day. So, if you own a car and you see me sneaking up on you, if you don't want to be on film, you need to run the other way because I'm going to track you down. Anyways, on behalf of Cruisin For The Cure and the Cruisin For A Cure family, thank you again, everybody, all the volunteers, all your guys' hard work to be here. Give yourselves a round of applause, and let's have a great show. I just want to say thank you to Rick for the work he does. This is a year-long job that we have. Thank you. All right, let's have some fun. Everybody get some lunch. Enjoy.
There you have it. Rick Abate addresses the who's who of the Meguiar's Hangar on Dental Vision, dentalhive.tv.